Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode 255. 255 of these things. My name is Glenn Gers, and I am here to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script, in order to teach a part of screenwriting that I think is a little undertaught, which is the process, the step-by-step, day-by-day, line-by-line work of taking thoughts and feelings and ideas, turning them into an outline, turning that outline into a rough draft, rewriting that rough draft into a readable script. That's the process. That's the job of writing scripts. And whether you're writing the script that's going to sell the most or win the awards or all that stuff, you can't do that if you don't actually follow a process and write the pages, get the script written. And people don't talk about that. They don't talk about what it takes to look at something that's not working and figure out how to make it work, trying to figure out the steps you go through. I'm just showing you the stuff that I learned in my 25-year career writing for TV and movies, because it might be helpful to you when you are starting out, you're facing the blank page, and this is things you can try. Not the only way, not the best way, just things you can try. Hope they help you. They are not the main thing I have to teach. The main thing I have to teach is on my channel. The first 3 playlists. That is what I have a screen grab here of. The first 3 playlists on my Writing for Screens YouTube channel are Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft, and the process, being a writer. Each one of these has little 10-minute lessons, very simple, very clean, very direct, as simple as I can make them, as much like index cards or recipes that I could make on a topic. The topic is the thumbnail, so that you can just look at the list and go, oh, flashbacks, genre. What can I learn about that? You do the 10 minutes, you got what I got to give. That is the best of my channel. This thing is just an interesting project. I thought would be a cool way to do live streams and a way to teach a part of writing that it's just too hard. You can't boil it down to a single lesson. It's just, hey, when I'm doing this, I run into this problem. Here, let's see how I have to solve it. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Thumper. Oop. Hi, Aspen Runes. Hi, Victoria. And hi, Donna. Hello, hello, hello to all of you. Glad to have you all here. I know that we are in the midst of changing time zones. I am here, did I say this? Every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zone. But what with the daylight savings showing up in the UK last weekend, showing up in the USA this coming weekend, I apologize if it's hard to find me. Doing the best I can considering global issues. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Najo. Good to see ya. So the gang's all here, lots of people here. So let's get down to it, because we are in the final stages of this project. And what I am doing is going through the script page by page. I read through it. I printed it out, which, yes, not the best thing to do. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone should do it. I'm old-fashioned. Now and then I like to read it on a page. Although, honestly, I don't like to read things on a page anymore. I like to read them on a screen. But when I am doing a rewrite, sometimes it helps to get some distance. It's kind of like catching yourself in a mirror when you're walking down the street and there's a mirror and you didn't see it coming in some store window, and all of a sudden you see yourself unexpectedly. That's, for me, what printing it out is. I see it differently, and it helps me to notice things that I would have not noticed before. Hi, Larry. Different people do different things to get this kind of perspective. Some people have people read it out loud for them, which is cool, but you don't get the stage directions. I also say sometimes just change the font. Just make a copy, change the font of every single word so that you can just read it. It's almost like having someone else read it to you. So having done that, I now have lots of mostly little Yeah, I did this because we're here on YouTube and I'm not supposed to use curse words that much, so we'll just move that along. I used to like the feel of the page. I am now not really that great on it. The problem is, I'm actually, it's nice to read on a screen, especially if you can adjust the size and format of the type. And having it backlit is sometimes really cool. I'm so used to writing on a screen now that it seems that I actually do my best rereading on the screen. Books are different. Sometimes I like to read a book, like a physical printed book. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Sometimes it's a printed book, sometimes it's a device. Hi, Blaine. And I know this really matters to everyone. This is really deep, helpful stuff. Let's do some helpful stuff. All right. Okay, so where? Okay. Oh, here. He says, "Hey, the gang's all here," but I believe someone else said it earlier. Let me just do a quick find gang. Yeah. I know that one. Where's the other one? Yes. Hey, the gang's all here. Okay. Yeah, definitely better for Ted to say that. Okay, so what is it that McLean should not say the same thing as Ted. McLean and Ted are very different people. All right. All right. So what's happening here is Cameron is calling in, FaceTiming in, or video calling, depending on what phone technology you're using. And so McLean has got to go, "Hey, all right. Look who's here. Look who's here." All right. Do I need to say checks it? No. Yeah. Do you have Xena? Do you have Xena? She was live streaming inside the house. And then she went dead. You want me to go ring the bell? It starts for the house. There we go. That's good. Hi, Blaine. Did I say hi, Blaine, already? Hi, Blaine. All right. All right, so here's one of those things. Either he's freezing or he's coming back to the RV. You can't do both. I think what I meant to do there was freezing, then coming back. U-turning Yeah, this is funny. I'm going to go ring. Touch that bell. You touch that bell, we got a problem. Touch that bell, we got a problem. Maybe we'll just wait on that. Yeah, it's a little funnier when you put the things in a little closer order. All right. I didn't really need the beat there. I mean, what? It's obvious. Sometimes you're kind of directing them in your mind when you write, and don't over direct. Don't over direct people while you're doing this. Okay. All right, this is good. All right. So meanwhile, maybe we'll just wait on that. We should tell the police? No. I mean, why? It's evidence. It's evidence that they didn't have. He didn't have any evidence. It seems like something they should know. How does it help? Except for making George seem even like even more. Like even more. That's what we want to do. Seem like even more of a crackpot. That's good. All right. How does it help except making George seem like even more of a crackpot? So they're really gonna work on that. So they're really gonna work on that case. It just feels wrong. If you care about George, you want his plan to work. He proved the killer is still out there. Now we have to get him. It seems like exactly what the police should exactly what the police should do. What the police seems like exactly what the police should do. Police do. Exactly. That seems like exactly where the police come in. Where the police come in. That's it. Where the police come in. It seems like exactly where the police come in. You think the police are going to let us keep provoking the killer, draw him out, saying they have evidence? You think the police are going to let us keep provoking the killer, drawing him out, saying we have the evidence, getting him to make a mistake? They can't. They have to play by the rules. You are really scary. Yes, I am. Okay, this is all working. This is okay. Catches the eye contact. See, I have these as two separate paragraphs because it seems like she would have her own shot, and it's kind of like a mental cut. Because it could be this. Yeah, that's not bad. Catches this, and her eyes widen. Oh my God. Oh my God. No freaking way. Get out. What? You two? Seriously? Did you hook up? I don't think so. I mean, it would depend on the change. The question is, if I change the dialogue in a scene, am I worried that I'll change the character's personality? I do worry, like I do look for when I'm working on dialogue, I'm looking for the person to have a consistent personality, a consistent language, a style, attitude in their dialogue. But I don't think that you just I don't think one line could change the person's personality. I think what that would happen is one line would seem out of character or not like them, and that would just be bad dialogue. It wouldn't be that I would be worried too much about changing, like if you write a line differently, you'll change it. Unless the line says like, I'm secretly a PhD in biophysics. But most of the time, the little changes I'm making here are just trying to get into the rhythm of each person and making it work. I don't actually think that that you can change just with a little bit of dialogue. If you rewrite the dialogue of a whole scene and change their style or attitude, it would still not change their character if it doesn't change it in the other scenes. That's the main thing. A character's character exists as a continuity in the whole story. And once we've met that character and have them have a certain style, a certain attitude, then the only things that will change that are if they're in different circumstances, like they might have different parts of their personality might come out if they are threatened or sympathetic or things like that we might not have seen before. Or what happens is just the character doesn't seem convincing or believable if they behave very differently scene to scene for no reason. I would be concerned with that, but that's kind of why I'm changing it now, is to keep them in their own language. Okay. Watching Fracture for the 10th time is unnerving, actually. That's a lot of times. I hope that you're, cool. If you're learning, if you are doing the thing that I recommend hold on, sorry. I did a video where I talk about take art apart, in which I advise watching something 10 times. Because the idea is when you watch it, you're trying to get to figure out, like to break it down, like actually stop and look at how a scene is constructed. That's a good thing. Otherwise, you should watch other things. but I'm glad that's really cool. Plus, I probably get like 0.4% of a penny every time you watch it, so this could build up to $1 or $2. Thank you, Hunter. That's very nice. I'm really glad. Also, just bought Fade in Screenwriting software. Oh, good. I know that you were looking at different possibilities. I've heard good things about Fade in. Excellent. Oh, cool. Well, I do want to promise you, Hunter, I promise I will be doing sometime in the next few months, I will do a live stream. I'm going to be doing a live stream series called Behind the Script, where I spend one live stream talking about a script. I will always put that script on my website so that you can download it, a PDF, so you guys can read it and know what I'm talking about. But Fracture is on my list of Behind the Script scripts. I'm going to do that, and I will talk about it. Actually, we're running early today. It's not a bad day. Give me a minute, and then you can ask me questions about Fracture. Okay. Alexis. Question: are you aware of what your most formative experience is in understanding storytelling? Answer: yes, I am pretty aware. It's an ongoing process, isn't it? So I would say, first of all, I think we all have a personal mythology about ourselves as storytellers. One thing that happens is there are certain things that you learn or become aware of. Actually, I remember when I started being interested in, because the formative experiences, some of my formative experiences were in the past 5 years, and I'm 64 years old. So I have been doing this a long time. I'm still being formed. We're all still constantly being formed. However, I was thinking about recently, Amazon was showing a bunch of old James Bond movies on streaming service. They had it available. And I thought, I haven't looked at Dr. No. Dr. No is not one of my favorite movies, but it was the first James Bond movie. James Bond was extremely important to me as a young person in terms of storytelling. I loved the James Bond. I loved the Hardy Boys. I loved P.G. Wodehouse, British comic novelist. I loved the Hardy Boys, and James Bond. Those movies, especially Goldfinger and Thunderball, were the ones that Thunderball I think was the one that was the most impactful. The first one I really saw, and then I watched all the other when I could. This was back in the late 60s. So there weren't that many ways to watch things. But anyway, the point is I watched Dr. No recently, and it's terrible. It's just a 1950s movie. It was made in 62, but it's just an old movie, and they didn't really know what they were doing yet. They were figuring out James Bond. Anyway, that reminded me of the importance of, first of all, your influences and your formative experiences change, because the things that really wrapped me up in James Bond are long gone from most of my interests. I find those things now in other things. Although I got to say the Daniel Craig James Bonds are good, very good. But the main thing is my interests changed. I didn't want to just have escapist adventures. I wanted to see more about real life. I discovered John Updike, the novelist. I discovered, sadly, Woody Allen, who has fallen from our graces as a human being. Without question, I feel very strongly he is a bad person. Unfortunately, he made very influential films at a time when I was influenced. You have to balance the meaning of those things. Different people have different feelings about it. I'm not sure if I would pay now to see a new Woody Allen piece. But anyway, different things get to you at different times. The interesting thing about all this is that I remember specifically with James Bond, I liked James Bond because I wanted to be James Bond or live in James Bond's world. I didn't really want to be James Bond, but I wanted to live in that world. I wanted to, not be hurt in fights, but I definitely wanted to live in that, it was so cool. So that was not yet wanting to write James Bond. That was like at the point of my life where I was realizing that you couldn't live in your fiction, but you could make it up, that you could live in it that way. That was a very important transition. And one of the main things that caused that transition for me was there was an old magazine called Show Magazine. It was kind of a arts life magazine. It was about arts, culture, but it was formatted like Life magazine, big picture magazine, very glamorous. Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, the novels, he wrote an article about how he wrote James Bond. And I read that and it blew my mind, because here was a writer talking about the craft of creating this thing that I had initially just wanted to live inside. Now I was watching him talk about how he wrote it. So that article really, really had a huge formative impact on me in understanding storytelling. That's just one of many. Another one was reading the book Harriet the Spy. Talk about shifting from spying to dealing with real life. Harriet the Spy, I cannot recommend enough. If you want to read an amazing old young adult novel, I just think it's fantastic. Anyway, okay. Hey, Glenn, not up to speed on your current script writing. I wanted to ask, is it plot-driven or character-driven? This is a good question. Oh, sorry. This is a good question. My current script is I'm not writing. Well, the script I'm writing right now is kind of a mix. But I'm really not writing scripts anymore. That's part of why I started doing this teaching, because I honestly began to feel like there was no challenge left in writing scripts for me. I was writing as good as I was going to write. I had written maybe 50 scripts over the course of 30 or 40 years. And I had written probably 100 unfinished scripts. So, I mean, I had done a lot of scripts, and I had gotten about as good as I think I can get. I mean, I'm good at writing scripts now. The challenge would be the content and the script business. One of the reasons I talk to you guys about this is because I spent 30 years getting as good as I can get at writing scripts, only to recognize the people don't want to read scripts, and if people don't read it, there's nothing else you can do with it. It's like it's an unfinished artwork, which is why I always push you guys to consider not just writing scripts. I often ask you to think, does it have to be a script? Because if you can write any other form, a graphic novel, a play, a radio, like anything that doesn't require hundreds of people and millions of dollars to make, or even if you make it for, $300 and then you put it out there, it still requires millions of dollars to publicize. Anyway, I am a little down on scripts in that sense. I'm teaching with the premise, if you must write a script, this will help you write it better. But I do want to always raise the issue. Maybe you don't want to write a script. Maybe you should write it in the form of a novel, a memoir, we're in this weird moment when you can make up a new form and put it on the web, write a novel in posts and write it in Facebook. I don't know. There's different ways you can do things, and I'm just urging you to do that. However, that does not answer your real question, which is plot-driven or character-driven piece. And the thing I prefer to write is actually one that takes that is 50-50ing that. For me, I really like to take a really plot-driven thing and then give it character, which is unusual, or to take a really character-driven thing and hype the plot. For me, it's always about how many things can you jam in? What is the highest level of genre exploding can you do? This is not good business. This is not a good plan. I am always working to make the characters of horror. When I worked in horror, I always worked on making the characters and the stories better, because I feel like that's the weak spot of horror stuff and action stuff, plot-driven, as you would say. And I always would push character. The people in those businesses were not overwhelmingly interested. Yeah, I think it is a cool idea. I think you're talking about the behind-the-scenes screens thing. This is behind the script. Saw one about self-help group about body image. Disfigured, my favorite. My personal, if I had to save one on a desert island, it would be that one. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. That's really great. I'm really happy that you like that, Katie J. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for telling me that. It's called Disfigured, and it's the closest to my heart. It's the one that I made myself. I paid for it out of my own money because I really just wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it. Yes, I absolutely adore the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. I think they're terrific. I think they are a good version of what the contemporary action movie can be. And yes, shout out for us seniors, indeed. Yeah, Woody is a specialized taste. Not everyone's going to like it. Fracture had more rewrites than anything on earth. Fracture was many years worth of working on that. I think I answered you. Let me know. David Strathairn was the nicest person. I got to say, everyone on Fracture was remarkably nice, and it wasn't always easy for them. But David Strathairn was so damn nice. And we were shooting in the LA City Hall because he played the district attorney, and we had a lot of waiting time while they were setting up big crowds for shots. And I was hanging out near him, and we started to talk. This was when he was up for an Academy Award for Good Night and Good Luck. But I loved him from the John Sayles days. And so I talked to him a little. I was just like, hey, how's, is it weird being up for an Academy? And he's like, and he was really like, he's like, I'm a guy who does this as a job. I'm a character actor. I'm a guy who's worked in a million things. It's very weird to be a star with an Academy Award nomination and all this thing. It doesn't feel like the same thing. He was really great about it. He was happy to be nominated, but I also asked him, because I was planning to direct Disfigured. I was planning to make Disfigured after I got finished with Fracture, and so I asked him. I said, as an actor, what do the directors who have been best for you. Tell me about what that experience was like. What do you like from a director as an actor? And he talked to me for like an hour, telling me about things that he had done on sets, which directors had helped him and which ones hadn't, and the weird experiences he had with it. It was just, he was so damn nice. Anyway, okay. Hello, Giuliano. I've been working with interactive fiction. Yeah. The interaction fiction is fascinating. It's a blurring of the boundaries between fiction and games, really, and I think it's very interesting because it blows apart all of my theories on storytelling because you can't control. I guess it depends. In some cases, you can control different endings or different story paths, and that's still possible. That's just a very demanding form of writing to say. But I think it's sort of cool to say, I can imagine the story going this way or this way, and creating separate paths where if people make choices, they'll go certain ways. That's phenomenal. That's a new layer to the art, and it's legitimate. It's a legitimate part of the art. Yeah. Now and then, it's a weird experience to rewatch movies that I have done, but it can be nice because most of the time I'm pretty happy with at least some of what I did. Often it gets changed. Yes, yeah. Interactive fiction is, in some ways, it's more pressure on the writer, though, because you have to be able to write a satisfying idea and then do its alternate universe version. It's a great creative challenge. Are all TV shows required to have a teaser? No, they're not. Yes, Rosamund Pike was very nice. It was her first American movie, so she was frankly a little overwhelmed and stressed. It was a big deal, and her part was a difficult part. The director and a lot of other people weren't confident of her character. I was, but I was the low man on the totem pole. Anyway, so she was real nice, but I didn't spend that much time with her. But the times that I did, she was super nice, and she did a great job. She's a really good actor. Okay, going to get back to writing now. Hello, Elinway. Yes, you have a good night too. Thank you for dropping by and your good wishes. That's very sweet. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, it's better. It's better with two here. You are at the midpoint. Not so great, Scott. Scott. I would say great enough. Wait a second. Not so great, Scott. Is that Scott? Oh, never mind. Your icon looks a lot like Scott McCloud's drawings. Anyway, welcome. You are here. You still got a good 30 minutes worth. Welcome. Glad you are here. I don't like eyes. Oh my God, no freaking way. Get out. What, YouTube? No. You hooked up? Yes, that's it. That's what it was. You hooked up? YouTube. Seriously, you hooked up? Yeah, actually not you two. Just seriously, get out. Seriously, you hooked up? Yeah, that's better. Okay. I don't have one. I have a handful of people that I will show scripts to. Um, I'm weird about this. I work it until I think it's done, and then I show it to people. At that point, it's not so much that it's done, but it's I feel pretty confident by the time I give something to somebody. But yes, I have people read it. I have writer friends or people in the business friends. There's not that much to be gained from people who are not in the business reading stuff. Although when I was starting out, I gave my scripts to all sorts of people who weren't in the business because it's hard for them to read a script. Script form is kind of hard for them to read. But if you get anywhere with it, if you get a civilian to read a script and they follow it and they have fun with it, you are golden. That's what you want. So it's not a bad idea to try it out on some people and see if they could follow it. But I have a bunch of people that I show it to, and they usually, yeah, they'll give me like, I like this, I didn't like that, and stuff like that. The things that are not clear, you get those in people tell you, which is great. So as far as I'm concerned, give your script to as many people as you can. Different people will find different things that they understand or don't. So what's really cool is if you hand your script to, and a lot of people don't understand one specific point, then you know it's the script. It's not the reader. It's not just a bad connection. It's that there's something truly in the script that is not clear. Hi, Trash Compactor. Yes, did you get mine? I thought I sent you an answer. My answer was nobody's volunteered yet to use you as a transfer point. But I'm holding on to yours in case someone does. Thank you for asking. Okay. This is so great. This explains it. I'm so happy for you. No. Okay, all right, but you can't keep. Are you kidding? You're glowing. Sits. All right. Now, why would she take? Yeah. I don't think she would. I think she takes. From. No. What? That's it. You just say no. I'm sorry. still say. I can still say whatever I want in my podcast. She can. It's really horrible. You don't have a podcast. Okay, so I'm taking over George's. I'm not going to let his death. It was for nothing. You can't stop him. No, but I can stop you from me. No, but I can stop you from being in this house. Get out. No, seriously, get out. You want to be the next victim? Great, but not here. I need his material. I don't care. Out. Scram. I am not enabling another murder. Puts to the door. All right, that's good. That's good. There were just too many words. Too many words. Okay. All right, so here's the thing. All right. All right. Here's the thing. This transition from, this is where we know, okay, she just caught them up. They're reacting to her catching them up on everything that just happened in the past few scenes. Because the worst thing you want is she has to come outside and tell them everything that just happened because they didn't see it, but they need to know it. But we don't want to watch that. So we come in late when she's just explained it and they're going like, what? There's no evidence? Now, here's the thing. So we get the no evidence, and then, so what, this is one step too many of things. I wanted to make clear that she was saying, we have to get George's stuff. So Zena's got to be like, Zena just told them this. And then she's got to say, I'm upset that George's materials are not available to us, because that's going to be the point, is that Zena is saying we have to get that stuff back, or we have to, because we're going to keep doing the podcast. That's where Zena's head is at. Okay, so no evidence at all. Thank you, Giuliano. Well, ideally, what Glenn would say is, what would you write? That's the key. That's the question. That's the magic. When I write, I'm thinking, what would I write? Because what I want you to do is, when you write, ask, what would you write? If you write like me, No good. What would I do? What habits would I have you be in? Yeah, I'll take that one. But you should write what you write. That's what Glenn says. That's what Glenn's main teaching is. You got to write your way. So you got to find your way to write. You got to write what only you would think of. All right. So what do we care? Yeah, there's no evidence at all. So then what do we care if she won't let us use George's stuff? Yeah, it was all bullshit. Convincing bullshit. It worked. It triggered CSK. How are we going to keep doing that without his bullshit? George got us close. I'm not giving a... how are we going to keep doing that without his stuff? Bullshit stuff. I need to know. George got us close. I think we can go. We can push it further. I just need to know if you're with me. What do we care if she won't let us use George's stuff? Yeah, it was all bullshit. Convincing bullshit. It worked. It triggered CSK. How are we going to keep doing that without his bullshit stuff? His bullshit stuff. George got us close. I think we can push it further. Or we can... So close. So close. I just need to know if you're with me. Am I insane? Should I try to do this? Oh, distract. Oop. Thank you, Giuliano. As in, some people are saying that they should have less lines. That seems weird to me. I mean, I wouldn't, unless the point of the character is that they don't talk much. You know, like there now and then you'll get a character, often played by Clint Eastwood, who won't talk. You know, they're just the one who holds back. If that's their character, if it's an important part of their way of dealing with the world, sure. But ordinarily, if it's not going to be like an issue, like in some stories, somebody won't talk because they're keeping something inside, and so the end of the story is when they sort of let it out. But and sometimes somebody's just like, I'm a person who does things instead of talking, so they don't talk. But ordinarily, I would say you do not want to have your main character have less lines of dialogue than others, because they're the main character. You want to hear from them more than anyone else. Also, you just don't have that much room in a script. That's the main thing to remember. Scripts are so narrow and tight. They have so little room that you don't want to waste your talk on a secondary character if the main character is not fully active. If the main character is good and you got room and you want other people to talk, cool. But have you heard or read some theory that main characters should have less lines? I would just say, if somebody said to you, it seems weird, your main character has less lines than everyone else, that is weird. It's unusual for the main character to be so quiet, unless it is they have some other manner of being main, of being active. If somebody has less lines, it usually means they're doing less, because so much of dramatic action is dialogue. Anyway, okay. When other writers write dialogue, it feels like different characters. But when I do it, I can't shake the feeling that they all sound like me. Any tips? Oh, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've done a video about this, about giving a character their own voice, and I have a video coming on dialogue. Um, the main thing I would say is that there's a bunch of technical layers that you can give to dialogue to make it distinctive. In other words, does one person use longer sentences or shorter sentences? Do they tend to ask questions or make declarations? Do they tend to have, fancy vocabulary or real simple words? Those things can define different people. You can say, okay, this guy, he talks way too fancy, and this one, they talk, very, very street language. So that's good. That defines them. It should have something to do with who they are as a person. But the main thing that I think changes how people talk is the attitude. It's how are they thinking and feeling and reacting to other people. That's how you get a person to be different. Is to really hone in on how do they operate? What is their style? Are they trying to convince people? Are they trying to confuse people? Are they trying to scare people? Are they trying to be reasonable? Whatever it is that they're emotionally trying to do, that's going to give you the best distinction of the characters. Not superficial things, but actually like attitude. Do they kind of insult a lot of people? Or do they treat some people as if they're important, but other people like they're scum? Those are how you define a character with the dialogue. Yeah, we get at Bernie's. I haven't seen that in a long time. I saw it in the theaters when it came out, and I've probably seen it once or twice since then. But that's just a great idea. It's just a great idea, and they do well with it. And I happen to be a big fan of those actors. So anyway. So then what do we care if she don't let us use? Yeah, it was all bullshit. Convincing bullshit. It worked. It triggered CSK. I'm going to keep doing that without his bullshit stuff. George got us so close. Got us so close. I need to know if you're with me when I go on it. George got us so close. I need to know if you're with me. Am I insane? Should we try to do this? Yeah, I'll put in, Jay, I will find the video. It was like an Ask Me Anything, where I think I talked about this, and I will try and find that video and put it in the description of this video about 10 minutes from now. When I finish this episode, I go back through the description. I'll put a link to that if I can find it. So look there. Okay. Huh, yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Those are way people do talk differently when they have different jobs, when they're from different parts of the world or different parts of the city or the country, wherever they're from. I guess that what I'm saying is I think the deepest character dialogue comes from their attitude, from their philosophy, from their feelings. And then the words, it's because there's only so many words. There's only so many ways you can write things. But there are infinite variations of feeling and relationships. So how the characters relate to each other is going to give you the most real character dialogue. And actually with that, I think I'm gonna stop now, and I'm gonna go find that video and put it in the description. And I am going to check my calendar and make sure I am indeed here on Monday. Yes, I will be here on Monday, so I will see you then. In the meantime, I sure hope that you all go write something.